All right, the recording has started, and I let's go ahead and get started. So this is the May 14th, 2019 Crossplane community meeting. So where we are in the schedule right now, definitely the biggest thing is that KubeCon Barcelona is next week. It starts on Monday with the co-located events, and then Tuesday through Thursday is the full conference. So the biggest thing that the Crossplane community has been working on is support for running GitLab, across cloud providers using Crossplane as the control plane to initialize and deploy and bootstrap all of GitLab's application components and its dependencies or resources as well, like Postgres and Redis and object storage buckets. So there's been a lot of progress on that since the last community meeting. So I think that really, what we're going to focus on today is really the status of that GitLab support, and then the general, longer term 0.3 milestone as a whole. I think we're gonna circle back to that next community meeting because I think we need to kind of take another look at that and refine a bit of the full scope of that kind of after we've accomplished this little mini milestone for getting GitLab running across the cloud providers. So let's look at, let's bring up the project boards, but then let's also focus on what's maybe some of the blocking issues are for the GitLab support. Okay, so on the GitLab support project board, most of the main bulk of the work has been completed in terms of supporting complex workloads and creating a GitLab controller. So there's it's sort of more of an integration phase of that effort is underway now to get it running live, work out the bugs in that integration, and kind of get everything end to end working. So there is this ticket in review here for the extension mechanisms, the extension support for Crossplane to add new packages with new support, such as the GitLab controller, to take a vanilla Crossplane cluster and extend it with new types and new controllers such as GitLab. So that's in pull request, and the tests are being wrapped up, and I don't see much risk with that. So hopefully we'll see that move to the done column today. So I think that I found a couple more issues that I'm going to go ahead and link to here that I want to see if we kind of get a little triage assessment of what the impact for them is, and kind of see if we can narrow down what's the focus here to drive this to the finish line. So there's three issues that I found that haven't necessarily been triaged yet. They don't have labels or a project for them yet. So this one here about resource claims ignore the controller ref when creating connection secrets. And that can get in a situation where the secret for like Postgres or Redis overwrites the other one. So you end up with the application that can't speak to or connect to all of its resources because it doesn't have the full set of connection secrets. And so, Ilya, do you know, is this something that would happen only if you happen to name all the resources with the same name, or is this like the default flow for setting up a GitLab that this could happen?
I don't really remember off the top of my head that issue, so for me, it's hard to comment right now.
Got it. I believe that this is something that you have to name put all the same names for each resource, which I think is a fairly easy workaround. So I'm not super worried about it, but we could follow up with Nick, the reporter of this issue, to see if it's a blocking issue that needs to be fixed or not.
Yeah, I can take a look in more details and comment on the issue later on.
Awesome. There's another issue that Luke opened that is was creating multiple GKE clusters in a single GCP project that runs into an issue for exceeding the maximum supported number of secondary ranges per subnetwork. I don't know if that doesn't sound like, a absolute like vanilla scenario is completely broken. That sounds like once you start creating multiple clusters, you run into that issue. And it's not clear if it's a quota issue where you can, raise it on the configuration side of your GCP account, or if it's a true bug in the Crossplane logic. But I don't think this is a completely blocking issue of, mainline scenarios.
I agree. I looked briefly into it. It seems to be issue on the JKE side itself. There's a workaround posted, so which we want to implement. With that said, I think I have a ticket for JKE requiring, in general, overhaul to support all the properties. So I think that can be wrapped up into that.
Got it. I do remember that ticket. Awesome. All right, and the other one I had identified is that the EKS YAML is missing some values. And Steve opened this ticket here. Steve, do you want to expand on this? Does this break a mainline scenario? Or is this like a documentation thing that we're missing?
I think that, so I made this as a placeholder to get Maher to add some actual values. We just didn't want to forget and come back. I'll fill it in today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just noticed a couple things that were out of date or missing from the recent EKS cluster setup.
Awesome. Okay, that sounds good then. So, I think there's more work to continue on, the integration effort that a few people are going to be focusing on, and continue driving the end-to-end scenario of getting GitLab up and running with all of its resources. Then to make sure all that integration works and everything is end-to-end smooth. So that's, there's still work left, but I'm happy with the progress that's been made there. Did anybody else want to talk about anything in terms of schedule-wise or milestone-wise? I think that circling back after Barcelona, we'll have more discussions about the themes of the rest of 0.3 and what's in scope and what's not, triaging and further milestones. We're a little bit short-term focused right now with Barcelona, KubeCon Barcelona in less than a week, though.
Yeah, I definitely think we need a bit of a roadmap update here after Barcelona.
Yep, I totally agree with that. Awesome. So let's Daniel Mangum, #Dan is so unfortunately he's on a new project at work now, and he has a conflict with this meeting, so he is not able to make this 9 a.m. Pacific Crossplane community meeting, and he is missed. But he said he will watch the YouTube recording tonight. And so I wanted to talk about, Daniel was assigned to the default resource classes issue number 151. And so he's excited to work on that. And he wanted to circle up with some other folks from engineering on the Crossplane project to just kind of agree upon the feature direction and scope of this support. So if anyone would like to meet with Daniel outside of this meeting and have a little design chat, then he would appreciate that, and we can follow up on that with him. And a quick question: has there been any other effort on implementing default resource classes just recently? It's assigned to Daniel, but I know that there's been some chatter about that issue in other places like Slack.
So I think Ilya identified an issue where, because of the weak typing that we have, default classes are much harder to do. So I think it opens up that whole can of worms around strong typing versus weakly typed stuff. So I don't think this is actionable until we figure that part out first. Got it.
And that sounds like something that would be great to include in our conversation with Daniel, and we can meet up with him as well. All right. And so I will make sure that Daniel gets this information, and he'll be able to watch this recording as well. But yeah, we can set up some time with him, maybe, right after everyone's back from Barcelona, and continue to drive that. And also, always grateful for Daniel's, participation and contributions to the Crossplane project. Daniel's definitely appreciated. Cool. And then, other thing here is KubeCon Barcelona next week. So I think most people are going to be there next week that I've been speaking to. So I'm looking forward to catching up with everybody and, giving some cool talks and some demos and, getting the community together there. That'll be really, really exciting. Does anybody else have anything specific they want to say about KubeCon Barcelona? Any like talk that they're want to bring attention to or anything like that?
Are you actually getting Crossplane folks together?
So it hasn't been anything specifically planned. So there's not, a specific event and time and place. But I would definitely be open for trying to figure that out, though.
Well, we have a Crossplane booth, and we'd love to kind of talk to you there at the Crossplane booth. We also have a few kind of, definitely we can schedule one-on-ones and all that stuff, and then we have an event we're throwing as well, so we can probably get invites out and all that stuff. It's all happening real time, so.
Right on. Yes, that is true. That we don't have a specific time and place for a face-to-face community meetup thing. But yeah, the booth and the event is that event that's with Cockroach and GitLab as well, Bassam?
It is, yeah.
That's awesome. Is there a link to that, or is that just invites are being sent out, and if you just ping us if you didn't receive an invite but you want one?
I think it's the latter. You might have to check with our team marketing folks.
Cool. That's that. It's yeah. It looked like the place that's being held is looks like a rooftop sort of terrace bar thing that looks with like a nice view of the city. And so I'm pretty excited about that. What is that, Tuesday night or Wednesday night? Monday night? Oh, you're on mute, Bassam.
Tuesday night, I believe.
Awesome. That is going to be a really fun party. I'm very excited about that. Yeah. So if anybody is interested in attending that wants an invitation to it, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to send you over one. All right. So Daniel also had this pull request here, 442, that I think he mentioned is close to it's ready to be merged. It just needs a review. So this is adding, validation to by talking to the Azure API when creating an Azure resource group, and I think it's establishing a pattern for doing that as well. So we just need to give this one a review, and all the checks have passed, and then hopefully we can get that merged for Daniel soon. All right. So I think that's everything that we had on the agenda today. Is there anything anybody else wants to bring up in this context right here today? All right. Well, we will meet and convene and see people in Barcelona. Please stop by the booth. We'll be happy to have conversations there, and hopefully to see you at the party on Tuesday night as well. And yeah, let's finish off this week and get our GitLab scenario working smoothly and polished.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.